Namaskar and welcome to Sansad Television. I am Vishal Dahiya and you're watching our show Perspective, where we bring you detailed analysis of key national and international issues. Today we're going to talk about a very important national issue, and that deals with the national politics. Specifically, we're looking at the opposition space in Parliament and at the national level. Now, opposition space in Parliament is going to be a very important aspect. Results of the recently concluded assembly elections in 5 states, that is Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Punjab, Manipur and Goa, is all set to bring a significant change at the national level as well. More specifically, we're talking about the opposition camp. With Congress biting the dust once again in these assembly elections, it is looking at the prospects of losing its pole position in the opposition camp. Congress party's dismal performance in these elections will also further bring down its strength in the upper house of Parliament. Meanwhile, the Aam Aadmi Party, which won a huge mandate in Punjab, will eventually increase its representation in the upper house significantly. All India Trinamool Congress is also making moves to capture the space ceded by Congress in the opposition camp. Today, we will discuss and analyze all aspects of these developments, try and understand what's happening in the opposition camp and the national political scenario vis-a-vis the results of these assembly elections as well. And for more on this, we're joined by a very distinguished panel. Let me first introduce them to you. We're joined by 3 members of Parliament from the upper house. Mr. Narayan Das Gupta is here with me in the studio, member of the upper house from Aam Aadmi Party. We're also joined by Mr. KTS Tulsi, Congress's member of Parliament in Rajya Sabha, and we have Dr. Amma Patnaik as well, the BJD's representative in the Rajya Sabha. Ms. Aditi Fadnis, political editor of the Business Standard, is also with us. Welcome, all of you, to Sansad Television. I'll begin with you, Mr. Gupta, and let me first begin by congratulating your party on that emphatic win which you've secured.
It is the win of the Punjab people, and they have voted for it. And they are right also in their decision.
Okay, now that becomes really important. That changes a lot of things at the national level, not only in Punjab. And significantly, not only your party's numbers will increase in Rajya Sabha, but also it seems the kind of statements which are coming in from your party and the plan. What is the plan ahead vis-a-vis the national scenario? Is your party making a move towards other states as well, with the idea of capturing that opposition space which is falling vacant?
Right now, what we have to first focus in Punjab, because the people of the Punjab, they feel cheated for the last 50 years. And what was earlier the Punjab, that I think that picture is missing. So that the first focus is to, because our leader, Kejriwal ji, he is always focusing, he talks of the development only. He does not talk of caste, religion or regionalism or particular segment. He is only talks of the work. And that is why we have this, for the last more than 7 years, we are in Delhi in power, and the people have seen the Kejriwal model of working here, whether it is in the area of the education, in the area of health, in the area of development, or in the overall development of the people of the Delhi. And that model was, with that model, we were there in Punjab. Before the people, we said that we want faith and confidence, and what the historical decision was given, जिसे कहते हैं percent बहुमत दिया, 80% seats in Delhi, and that we have worked it. Now we are here with that performance, and that is before you, and that is why, and we want that similarly we want to work here in the, and we will want to address the problems which the Punjab is facing, and that's why people, they have expressed faith in us.
Okay.
And against percent बहुमत से दिया है, again we have got 80%. This is the history which the Punjab people have created.
Okay. We'll come to the finer points of your party's plans and policies as well vis-a-vis the national politics again. But let me bring in Mr. KTS Tulsi of the Congress here. Mr. Tulsi, this is a sort of an election result which, of course, will come as a shock to your party. Of course, there are lot of discussions going on within the party. A CWC meeting was held as well. The larger question which we are trying to understand here is that what now from here onwards, because Congress has always held the pole position in terms of the opposition camp. That seemingly is slowly slipping away.
This happens in multi-party systems of parliament. And the parliament, I believe, is incomplete. It is not complete until the opposition is given due importance, because opposition is the one which will ensure that the promises made are fulfilled and bring to the notice of the government the problems being faced in one place or the other.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, Benjamin Disraeli says that no government can long be secure without a formidable opposition. Formidable opposition is the need of the hour. Even if they haven't, if the electorate has not provided it, the government must ensure that a mechanism is evolved by which the opposition, howsoever depleted it may be,
Okay.
is able to bring, satisfy the requirements of the opposition by itself. The genuine opposition is a natural and necessary attribute of democracy.
Mm-hmm.
The existence of an opposition, without opposition, politics ceases and the administration takes over the job of the opposition.
Okay.
And whereas the opposition, that cannot be performed. You see, it was being said in that about the British parliamentary practice over the centuries, and still rests entirely on this convention.
Mm-hmm.
There was a time in the 16th and the 17th century when debate was extremely restricted in England, and the view against the crown was considered to be treason.
Okay. Okay.
So you could not express a contrary opinion, you could not criticize, there was no synthesis, there is no anti-synthesis, there is no synthesis at all. And therefore, the administration becomes more powerful.
Okay, but in the present scenario, Mr. Tulsi, I'd like to come in here. In the present scenario, how assertive do you think your party will continue to be in the opposition space with new claimants emerging like the Aam Aadmi Party, with increased numbers in the upper house and another state under their belt? The Trinamool Congress is already making moves vis-a-vis capturing that pole position in the opposition camp.
The question is to whom?
Yeah, Mr. Tulsi, the question is to you again, that how assertive will your party continue to be in the opposition camp in the wake of these developments?
You see, we have the world's experience as to how these situations are met. In the 15th, 16th century, or even debate on the issue, which is not to the liking of the crown, it invited imprisonment, if not worse. Macaulay says that every man who then meddled with the public affairs took his life in his hands.
Okay.
Now, it's for the government, because the government and the object of the government is to fulfill the aspirations of the people,
Okay.
of those who have voted them to power. And it doesn't happen. It will be a very sad thing. There cannot be parliamentary democracy without effective opposition. You cannot, the government cannot function, cannot fulfill its objectives.
Indeed.
Until there is an opposition, and opposition is lionized.
Okay.
It is given adequate research. I think, I don't agree with the system where in the last Lok Sabha, when nobody acquired 10% of votes, of seats, So the status of opposition leader of the opposition was not given to anyone.
Uh-huh.
The government in power must realize that it's important. Opposition is as important as good governance.
Okay, indeed, Mr. Tulsi, there you're right, and all of us would agree out here that the role of the opposition is very, very significant and very important when it comes to democracy, and that is something which has been underlined by all involved political parties, both inside and outside the parliament as well. But coming to Dr. Amma Patnaik here, Dr. Patnaik, how do you view these developments which are taking place in the political space vis-a-vis all these political parties involved, and what is in it for the BJD, or how does BJD plans to move ahead? Because BJD has always been considered as a non-Congress, non-BJP party, non-NDA, non-UPA.
As far as BJD is concerned, I think its role both in the upper house and the lower house would continue to remain the same, which is to look after the interests of the state of Orissa. We are a regional. Our leader has always put the people of Orissa ahead of any other issue, national. Of course, when there is a pressing national issue, then we support those issues. But of prime importance for us is to support anybody who supports our cause in the state. May it be in transfer of finances, transfer of more resources, may it be in increasing railway density, tele density, any such thing. Therefore, irrespective of the current electoral results in the four states, our position in the parliament would remain the same, that is constructively taking up the cause of our state, our issues relating to our state, what would bring welfare to the state.
Okay.
Having said so, I would further add that what Mr. Tulsi, my senior colleague, was saying, this is undeniable fact that the role of opposition is very important in democracy, more so in the parliament, because an issue needs to be discussed. But for that, disruption should decrease, the debates and discussion should increase. And coming specifically to the issue of elections, I'm sure Congress would be in distress to look at the results. But even more importantly, they would be under stress to be actually losing that whole position to even cement a third front, supposedly a third front, get opposition unity.
Okay.
However, every party which is in the opposition in terms of its ideological differences with the ruling party would get a chance, and it is too premature to think that Congress would lose it completely.
Okay.
It is also too premature to think that there may not be an opposition coalition on the lines which is common to all of them, but it is definitely very, very difficult. Our position in the BJD remains unaffected.
Okay.
We fight for the state. We fight for the people of Orissa.
Okay. Indeed, it is always very difficult to predict what happens in politics, but the opposition space is something which we are looking at, and there is a lot of churning happening out there. Aditya, I'd like to bring you in here. You've been keeping a very close watch on, all the developments both inside the parliament and outside the parliament as well. For quite a long time now. How do you analyze, the impact of these assembly elections on the national politics and the opposition space specifically? As I was mentioning earlier, the Congress, receding a little bit, ceding space to other parties, and parties like Aam Aadmi Party or TMC or other claimants as well are trying to make their way.
Well, as far as the parliamentary opposition is concerned, we have seen a situation where the opposition has been virtually stamped out in the past, and numerically in far lower numbers. So I don't think there's any danger that the opposition in parliament is going to be finished, or it's going to be effaced or anything like that. But what is equally concerning is the extra parliamentary opposition, the opposition that exists outside parliament, We need to consider that also. No party, no matter how thoughtful and how far-reaching and how welfareist it may be, can assume that it has in it that it is the repository of all wisdom. So you do need people who will critique your policies and will be able to understand uh, where you are going wrong and
Okay.
convey that to you. We have seen that in Aam Aadmi Party's approach to politics, and I think going forward we will see more critique as well. But that cannot be considered as being limited to Parliament, but also outside Parliament. The judiciary is a very important element of government policy, and how if it does not meet the tenets of law, how it must be opposed. The press is a very important element of opposition
Okay.
in outside Parliament. And in Parliament, I think the institutions of standing committees and those institutions which bring about a kind of bipartisan agreement on certain things,
Okay.
their role will now become extremely important.
Okay. Now that brings to us to a very important question, and Mr. Gupta, since your party, will eventually in next few months down the line will be in double digits in the upper house, a significant block out there. In terms of what Aditi was referring to, no single party can be the repository of or the claimant of the opposition space, as she was referring to. In the present circumstances also, it becomes really important with the lesser numbers and distributed almost equally between certain parties. Now, the question is, how willing will your party be to go ahead and, have that working understanding with other opposition parties when you're talking about issues or policies and that genuine criticism or genuine critique against the government?
The only thing is, because the first question you asked is what is the impact of the 5 state elections. That is very important. The question is because as far as unity is concerned, as the Patnaik Sahab has said, that there may be a third front likely to be constituted. But the question is, where is because there is a one position in the Rajya Sabha, that is a leader of opposition. That is recognized position. But I am of the opinion, very soon we are going to lose this. This is a very serious issue as far as working of the opposition is concerned.
Okay.
Because that is a very important position of the leader of opposition. But because as you have rightly said, in a very near future, we are going to add 7 more members and we are going to touch level. But question is, who is losing? Right now that the largest party in the Rajya Sabha, they are losing it, and they may lose the status of LOP also. That will be a great, I think, setback to the. But right now, what we have to do, because as you rightly said, whether we have to do the politics of criticism or we have to do the critique as a opposition party, और जिसे कहते हैं विपक्ष की पार्टी है, हमने कंस्ट्रक्टिव वर्क जो है करना है. तो ना इट इज राइट टाइम, बिकॉज वी आर द 3 members there. We have always been with the opposition members as far as the constructive avoiding the criticism of anything. So that is right now, it is the need of the hours that we should all be united, act as one in the larger interest of the country, because the democratic setup, unless until we have the position of the leader, even in Lok Sabha also, the opposition has no leader of opposition. This is a very serious situation. All the political party, they should join their hands and work together in the largest interest of the country. This is what we feel, and this is what our leader is of the view. Today, I will just give a small example.
Please.
Because as far as infrastructure is concerned, we have seen 20,000 students, they were for education in Ukraine. What we have done in the last 75 years? Question is that even we are not able to create infrastructure even to impart the education to our students. This is a very serious thing. Here it is that the opposition party should come together and apply their mind to this and ask and find out some solution to these problems.
Indeed. And not only, the issues which require the attention, as you're pointing out, it is the duty of the opposition parties to go ahead and raise those issues on the floor of the House
Yes,
and
that is there.
find solutions or ask questions to the government. Mr. Tulsi, we are running short of time, but a quick concluding comment from you on this very aspect that with the opposition space, when we're talking about inside the parliament, your party, numbers dwindling of your party inside the parliament, how important or how open do you think will your party will be to the suggestions coming in from other members or other opposition parties and form that that block which everybody is talking about in terms of trying to ask questions to the government or put them in a corner?
See, I believe that the government needs the opposition more than the opposition needing the government. The word opposition in the context of democratically elected parliaments across the world was coined in 1826. And in that, it was said that at that time, even for ministers to express a contrary opinion,
Okay.
whether the prime minister or the king, was considered inconceivable.
Okay.
And it was actually punished. But the pluralistic democratic legislatures must ensure that their opponents have free access to the government ministers, because it is that.
Okay.
Guru Nanak Dev Ji says, "Nindak nede rakhiye." जो निंदक है उसको नजदीक रखिए,
Okay.
वो आपका दिमाग को घूम जाने से बचा देगा.
Okay, that's a very, very important, very significant point you made there, Mr. Tulsi. I'm afraid that we're running very short of time. We'll have to, wind up the discussion here. But I must thank all four of our panelists, Mr. Tulsi, Dr. Patnaik, Mr. Gupta, as well as Aditi, for sharing your views and insight as our experts. And the panelists were pointing out very clearly that there is a lot of churning which is going on in the opposition space. Of course, every political party would like to expand its footprint, not only in the state level, in the states at state level, but also at the central level. And we might see a lot of, these developments going on further. The question remains as to how will these different political parties in the opposition camp will try and, work with each other. What will be their strategy on the floor of the House and outside the Parliament as well? That is something which we'll keep a close watch on and will bring you all the detailed analysis and developments on that aspect. Till then, keep watching Sansad Television. Thank you.